You're watching the Tesla Live with your host, Mark Highland.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life. How is everybody today? And yes, for those sharp-eyed people, we are missing the T in the title at this moment, but we will fix it later. So, welcome to the show. It's the 7th of June, 2023. And joining us as per usual, we have Mr. Casey Green and Moto. How are you doing today, sir?
We're doing pretty well. She just figured out that my headphones flip the other way. And
that's going to be trouble through the show. I can guarantee that.
Well, she's got her own headphones that she refuses to wear.
That's right. She doesn't like them.
She doesn't like stuff on her head.
Doesn't like them.
Yeah.
Well, she's going to have to get used
to
that.
She thinks they're cute enough to play with, but not
podcast extraordinaire in the future, I'm sure. Also joining us just at the last moment, we have Mr. Patrick Connor. How are you today, sir?
Hello. Yes, I was on for half a second before the show went live.
Yes.
Yeah. So last week I came to you without Tesla solar panels, and this week it's with no solar panels. So last week we still had our old Mr. Sun solar system going, and now
Mr. Sun. That just sounds cheesy.
Yes, Mr. Sun. Yeah, it's like Mr.
That sounds like Mr. Plow on The Simpsons.
Yep. That was our first system. We had it installed in 2007. It was from Mr. Sun Solar, and now that one's down too. So the roof work is going to start soon, and get those back up there as soon as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised you haven't laid them around in the backyard to to limit the lawn mowing that has to happen as well as collect some energy.
No, but that'll scorch your lawn though for sure. Pro tip.
That sounds like the voice of experience.
Thankfully not firsthand, but yes. Somebody else had the same model of portable panels that I have, and they're like, oh yeah, let's just. They didn't put them in the ground, so they knew that was not smart. They put them in the window, kind of leaned up under the window, and it was still enough heat to scorch the grass.
Oh yeah, don't reflect back. Yeah. Well, let's get on with the show and say hello to our Tesla tribe out there.
Very good, very good. Well, welcome to My Tesla Weekend, Dirk Ludwig, and of course June C, who have joined the chat early. So hello to you folks. And let's get on with the start of some stories. Casey's going to kick us off this week with a story about a possible announcement that something happened to it.
Yeah, so Elon was over in China doing stuff, and just like Fremont, Shanghai has had a Model 3 line shut down, and folks were speculating that we would see, Elon would show us Project Highland. And, well, even if Elon did see Project Highland in the flesh, he didn't show it to us.
Right. I think that's more likely what happened, is that he was being shown their progress on Project Highland, and somehow that leaked and got misinterpreted, and then all of a sudden there's headlines saying, we're all going to find out. They're going to have a big event for it. And it's...
Yeah, of course. It won't just be like a little... thing in China, and it's going to be like they like to have a party, and it's just that's not the venue. If anything, like I'm sure Elon already knew what it looked like, but maybe he was comparing the progress between Shanghai and Fremont, because remember, now that he has some free time freed up from Twitter, he's getting a lot more hands-on, even more so than folks would care for. All up in your face.
Exactly.
He's
They're like, can't you go buy some other company?
Don't keep that down.
Hey, Elon, these are some great donuts.
He's probably investigating 4 already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's got social media, brain implants, tunneling. What? That's it's almost impossible to predict what's next.
Yeah, there's he's covering a lot of bases. I would say he's going to work on the undersea stuff next. That's about the only frontier that's missing. So be mining the Mariana.
Yeah, my Tesla Weekend's got it right. He's got the AI.
Oh yeah, right. AI is the new one. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
they also suggest
that would be interesting to see if there is going to be some sort of a big splash when Highland comes out, because Tesla's been known when they upgrade a model to not do anything except update the website. So
yeah, that's true.
There's
if that usually they just fill the supply chain with it, and they're like, oh, by the way, this has been in construction for 2 months. They ship tomorrow.
Yeah. So there's some of that in Tesla's history as well.
So, right. So they would not do
the closest we didn't get that was release D.
Yeah. They wouldn't do anything until after the end of the quarter, though, because they're going to try to get every car out that they can. And even if they do start shipping them this quarter, they still probably wouldn't say anything until next month, and then say, "Oh, and we've been shipping them."
Yeah. Makes sense.
That would be even if they're in the channel, that'd be just too much to like have everybody trained and ready to go at the last minute in the middle of a delivery crunch. They're still doing, even though Elon said they wouldn't be doing it about 4 times.
Yeah, they sure are.
4 years.
Yes. And speaking of delivery crunch, what a great segue to the next story. And that, of course, is that prices of Model 3 and now Model Y have been dropping on inventory models in both the United States and in Canada. So this has happened recently to, of course, add to the discount that was already in place a week ago. Now there's an extra discount that's been added. So obviously they're trying to get rid of these extra inventory cars. And as Patrick has mentioned, it's probably all attuned to not only that there could be a new model coming out next quarter, but because it is coming to the end of the quarter. They're trying to push everything they can out the door because they know they want to make room for the new model in the future. So that's interesting to see. What's your guys' opinion on whether or not you should take the discount now, or if you should wait for the unknown of Project Highland?
If you like stocks, then you definitely should buy now before it's too late.
That's a good point.
Turn signal and your gear selector. Yes.
Yeah, because it is rumored that stocks will be gone in Highland. Absolutely.
Not just rumored, but we've seen vehicles without them. We don't know if that's a shipping vehicle or if that was like an engineering sample or a test.
Is that a shipping vehicle? Yeah.
So it's a coin flip if whether or not they're going to be there. The ones that have been seen without it, were those just tests, or was that the plan? So
if you like them, we know one car has them now.
Exactly.
Very good, very good. Next,
I don't know, because if you're always waiting for the next thing, you'll always be waiting. But
right,
depends on how much of an early adopter you want to be. But you bought both of yours right before they changed them all, right, Patrick?
So I bought the Model X right before they switched from autopilot to the ones with side cameras. So it was before they switched from ModelYs to Tesla vision system. And I don't know what we bought the all-wheel drive Model 3 as soon as that one came out, 2018. But because I got all-wheel drive, we had to wait. I don't remember how many months after they first started delivery of the rear wheel drive.
Yeah, they were busy shipping to me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then I made my wife wait another month while I had it wrapped and detailed and paint corrected and all that stuff.
Well, at least you got to stare at it in your garage for a while, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, when it wasn't at the detailer or the wrapper, yes.
My Tesla Weekend they pointed out that it'd be financially sound to rent a warehouse or stick them in until they're ready for the announcement. And that may be what some of those warehouse spaces we've seen them rent or buy are for.
Yes.
Well, it's surprising that if it is going to happen with for example, Shanghai first, then we should get a little bit of a headway. Or are they going to release at the same time and do both Shanghai and Fremont at the same time? So There's a lot of questions.
Because remember, Shanghai is the export hub, so they're going to have the problem where worldwide is going to be messed up if they do Fremont too far out, and if they do Shanghai first, then they're going to have all the whiners.
Yeah. Wanted to see if Patrick knew about this story about the state of charge at 50%. Did you know about that?
Oh, yeah. I did. Yeah, I heard about this, and I was actually surprised that it makes news. So Tesla has changed their delivery practices so that when cars leave their factory, they're at a 50% state of charge. And then the cool thing is they're offering 150 kilometers of free supercharging, which is about 90 miles, a little over 93. Fact check me. And this is pretty typical. So when gas cars are transported, depending on the shipper, they sometimes require you to have a gallon or less of fuel in the tank, just because of the fire hazard. And with batteries, the more energy you have in there, just like anything else, the more potential for problems. And with lithium batteries, they are most comfortable. You get the least amount of degradation. We're in them when they're in the middle third of their charging state. And it depends on the chemistry. Iron is not as picky at all compared to the NMC or nickel chemistries. So this is make sure that they can use whatever third-party shipper they want and meet their requirements. It means you're going to have less battery degradation if it gets stuck on a truck driving through Arizona in midday heat. You're not going to have any additional degradation. So I see it as a win-win. And then the fact that you get free supercharging to make up for it, oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
And the contention with that is that the full charge happened at the stores and the delivery centers. However, don't forget that they only have a handful of combinations. So what they will do is, if your store has too many of the red one with white seats and the 21-inch wheels, and another region needs them, they will do a transfer. And if that car has already been filled up, how are they going to drain the charge?
They're going to drive it there.
No, they're not going to drive it there. Then someone's going to complain about miles and rock chips and all the micrometers doesn't show right. So,
right. And this doesn't guarantee that every car will be shipped like that, depending on the shipper's requirements. And like you said, maybe they have filled it up already. And so what do? You put it on the transport, and then you get on the app and you turn on the AC and let it drain as you drive. I'm just kidding. They'll probably just deliver it with more charge. And if you also happen to get the 150 kilometers of free supercharging and a full vehicle, great.
My speculation is exactly as Patrick mentioned. The 150 kilometers kind of threw off a warning in my head. Is this because they want cars that are shipped by ship to be under that amount, because they're all packed in together? There's thousands of them at a time. And the 150 kilometers is interesting because Canada has just started to receive shipments from China, of Model Ys and Model Ys and 3s at this point. Mm-hmm. So is this rule come out because Canadian cars that are arriving in Canadian ports have half the charge, because the shipping companies are wanting it because there's thousands of these things being sent on the same boat? Speculation.
That makes sense, because remember, was it last year or the year before where Volkswagen burned down a whole ship because they blamed it either on Porsche Taycan or
that's right,
whatever the VW was shipping at the time.
Yeah. So maybe it's a maritime change. You can
carry so big of a battery.
But I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah. But again, with the advent of getting free supercharger miles anyways, and most people aren't traveling too far of a distance from the dealership. If they are, one supercharge will get you home for sure. So don't think this is too much of a big deal, except for Casey.
He drives a lot.
House is in the Good Old Boys network. It's illegal for them to operate here.
The Good Old Boys network. That's a great name.
It's what it is. And a couple people did receive cars with full or nearly full charges and still got the full supercharger credit. I think it's designed to be used within like 3 months or so, and it shows up pretty much on your way home. So
yeah.
I'll agree that they're old and mostly boys. I'm going to argue about good. It is a network. Give me that one.
It's what we call it. It's not what anybody actually.
It's a sarcastic
about it when
I
outside of the network.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the way we do things around here.
No.
Next, want to touch on an issue that has been plaguing some Model Y owners recently, and that is some water egress in the hatch area. So there seems to be some sort of an issue where the seal is not completely correct in the Model Ys, because some people that are leaving the vehicles out in rainstorms and such are finding that some water is dripping down the sides and pooling down by the latch where the hatchback closes. And Tesla has just announced a fix for this. So if you're out there with a Model Y and you're having this issue, you may want to take it into Tesla. There is now a fix that they have in place. And this is specifically for June C, who just got a Model Y recently. Maybe she hasn't noticed yet if this is an issue or not. It would be interesting to find out.
Friends with older Model S's than mine, and they both got little free swimming pools in the under trunk of their Model S's when it rained. One of them, I don't know how long it took to get resolved, but the other one, it was like 2 service visits and it was fixed.
I remember in the early days of the Model 3 rollout, there was an issue with moisture getting in the subtrunk. But that was only a limited amount of vehicles. It wasn't everybody. It was just a few.
Yeah.
So
until they fixed the shape of the seal, because it would overshoot the window and then go right in the trunk.
Yeah. So hey, if you just got a Model Y, you should make sure you have nothing in the hatchback area, the trunk area, and hit it with a hose and see if you get any leaks. And if so,
on the
you
side and from above. Absolutely.
Yeah, and have a towel in there where you can easily tell if it got wet or something, and that way it helps pick up that water. With our Model X, we had to have the seals replaced on the Falcon Wing doors, and they actually changed the shape of the seal. It has this much larger flap, and it works to help keep rain out when you have the door open and it's running there. Now it channels it off, and yeah, it's. I live in Oregon. Rain is common here, and
yes.
When you need to load, kids in the back, the doors go open even if it's raining, and so having those new seals actually was pretty nice.
Yeah, Child Services frowns on leaving your kids at the side of the road when it's raining.
Right. Sorry, I have a Model X.
I'll be back tomorrow when it's sunny.
Yes, that's right. Yes, here's an umbrella. See ya.
The one key thing with Model X though is you don't want to have all 3 rear doors open at the same time, because then they'll all get water in them.
Yes, they channel towards each other, and yes, that is very true.
Very good. Next, wanted to touch upon yes. Speaking of the updates that are happening out there and the possible updates, Model Ys were spotted in Fremont with hardware 4 cameras, which we reported on last week.
Mm-hmm.
But what they did not find, that they were kind of surprised, is none of those vehicles actually have the HD radar installed, which has been installed with hardware 4 in the S and the X. So they were just kind of assuming that this rollout of hardware 4 hardware, the cameras, would also include this HD radar that's been put in the others. And to this point, the Fremont Model Ys, they don't contain it. So speculation as to why not. Is this a parts issue? They're going to install it later. Is the Model Y never going to receive the HD radar? We really don't know. But this
probably
this
that
could
one
be,
because in a bit of related news, if you've been going in for service appointments, for some people, the Tesla app has been adding a free line item to turn off your radar, and not just off, because it's been not used for a long time in software. But they are literally unplugging your radar, putting a cap on the cable and a cap in the socket on the radar, and then just leaving them all there. So I would suggest that Model Y is never going to get radar, at least not anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah. So if that speculation, which makes sense, is accurate, so I just kind of want a little history. So when Tesla first started shipping their cars with cameras all around, they had ultrasonic sensors, radar, and cameras, of course. And then the radar went away because they were getting conflicting information. Radar says you're about to hit a brick wall. Cameras say it's clear open road. And especially that was a coarse radar. So not high def, low def. It was low def radar. And if you have a can on the side of the road, the bottom of that is a parabolic shape, and it sends back a huge signal. So you could get all kinds of misinformation about what was really out there. So with that, they could not trust the radar, which is why we had phantom braking and other problems. And so if you have two systems and you can't trust one, you get rid of the one you can't trust. So that's why they said we have to make cameras work. And cameras also give you a lot more information about the vehicle in front of you, like if they hit their brake lights. You're never going to see that with LiDAR or radar. And the cameras can take that in. The AI can get a better understanding of what that means before. Radar had some advantages that it could bounce under, but by the time you're doing that, it's really fuzzy information. So again, it's not really trustable. So high def radar was supposed to improve that. But what I think they might be doing, and this was hinted at in the article here, is that if they have it in some of their vehicles, their high-end vehicles that can afford that cost, and they can use that and compare the data they get from the cameras and the radar. One of the things that we've seen Tesla do in the past is put LiDAR on systems and drive around with them. And you're like, well, they're very much anti-LiDAR. Why would they do that? Well, because they're using it for training. And so they were able to take and make algorithms that based on camera data could do distance estimation to the same degree of accuracy as LiDAR. And so that was the ground truth, was the LiDAR results. And then you can get similar or equal results with cameras. So they might be doing the same thing here. If they have these high def radars installed in some of their vehicles, they can use those to collect data. They can use that to improve their camera system for everybody, whether you have it or not.
Right. Yeah, because the people who are getting their radars unplugged are Hardware 3 owners. Hardware 2 and 2.5, they're not getting unplugged. And I haven't heard of but one Hardware 4 radar getting unplugged so far. And as Wasim points out, you can save a couple tens of watts this way. And watts matter when you
but be careful, if there's not a software update, that still could be a problem if you just unplug your radar.
Tesla to do it.
Yeah, don't do it yourself.
Yeah. Well, Casey's got our next story, and it's about good news for those in the U.S. That are looking for the IRA credit.
Yes. So if you bought a Model 3 this year and your income and all the other requirements are met, congratulations. All Model 3s qualify for the tax credit, assuming that that you keep it under the price cap. How this works, we have no idea. Because if these vehicles are shipping with Chinese batteries, does that mean that they were shipped to China and then shipped back, or what's the deal here? But it looks like Tesla wasn't sure that they would fully qualify, so they just said the right thing and said, hey, we're sure you're going to get half the credit. And then now they're saying, hey, you're good to go on the ones that that have already shipped, as well as they're saying for sure all the ones that are on sale now up till this point so far. That could change later, but they don't look like they intend to change anytime soon. All of those Model 3s that are under the price cap and where your income meets, you get the full credit.
Yeah, so that's going to be a huge win for Tesla sales in the U.S., I would believe. Of all of a sudden, you've doubled up the credit. There's going to be a lot more people that could be interested, because it just brings down that price into a bracket they could afford. Maybe do that, be able to do that Tesla stretch that we've seen happen so often. So that's great news. I'm sure the other automakers aren't thinking it's great news, but
oh, of course not. The other thing that came up with that, the reason we're speculating about how that happened is none of the specs changed, none of the weights changed, none of the EPA ratings changed. So they all match perfectly with the Chinese battery, and so that's why the speculation came to be.
Yeah. So I think the best answer that I've seen was from Rob Maurer at Tesla Daily, where he actually went through the rules and found what might be the clause that Tesla is using to allow this. And it was, if you look at the percentage of vehicles over a period that qualified for it, is, I don't remember what the exact number was, but if it was a majority of them, then all the vehicle variants within that category could qualify. So as long as you had, you didn't have, you could extend it to vehicles that by itself would not qualify, as long as you had a percentage of that whole category that met it.
And Derek Ludwig just put the same thing in place in the chat room.
Yes.
Yeah. Similar to how Ford used to qualify the C-Max using the fusion fuel economy numbers.
Exactly. Yes.
Interesting. So Tesla believes that with their future endeavors in battery making, that they're going to push the whole average towards being made in North America or sourced from free trade countries. So they must have a plan in place in order to do it, because of course, if they don't have a plan in place and something goes wrong with that, Tesla's probably going to be on the hook for that extra part of the rebate, I would imagine.
But what we'll probably see at that point, if they get to the edge of tax fraud, is we'll see all of a sudden the Model 3 dual motor long range for sale for like $6,000 less than the short range. Come and get them.
Yeah, and I think this is exactly the reason that the made in China cars went to Canada, so that the made in the US cars can stay here, and make sure that all of those packs are here to offset the packs that are coming from China that again wouldn't meet the standard for the incentive.
Yeah,
they know how to do math. Yeah. And then the other part of it that was kind of strange is that the period of which you averaged over was flexible. So it could be a quarter, it could be half a year, it could be the calendar year. So that makes it easier for Tesla to find a way that slices and dices and works for them.
Yeah. So an update with the next story with the loot box. We've got some increased incentives that have been added to the loot box. Now it looks like that there's some offers of 3 months of free FSD, $1,000 off the SNX, and now the referrer will now receive 20,000 points for an SNX referral over a 3 and a Y. So they've upped the referral bonuses on SNX referrals, which makes complete sense because the cars are dramatically price different. And of course, reminder that both the referral and the referrer get bonus points. So both parties get it. And it's available in Canada and the US at this point. Haven't heard about another country.
The SNX aren't available in right-hand drive countries anymore.
Right. So that's good news. One thing I found different in the referral is that you're not using your old referral number, I don't believe. I think what you have to do is I think you have to email somebody the referral code by email or by social media, and it sends them a code that way. So unlike the old version where you just had a number that was yours, and you could give anybody a number or publish the number on a website, for example, that some had done. Now
or a blog.
Yeah.
blog.
Or it might have splattered all over at the end
of I believe it's now changed because I was checking out how to send a referral, and it looked like I had to get their email address or something else.
That's actually probably for the best, because there were people doing all kinds of things to spam their referral codes out there.
But it did change it to the new one.
Yeah, so they probably wanted to get away from that publicizing an address or a code and then just pasting it on everything. Now the person that's doing the referring has to get that person's permission by getting some sort of email or social media account so they can forward that referral code to them.
Right. So that makes it so that you're actually having a conversation with somebody and not just spamming it out there.
Correct.
There was a lot of that in the beginning. Oof.
Yeah.
They almost cost us the program in the beginning because of that.
Yeah, there were people buying.
There was some guy who bought a billboard with a referral code on it. You remember that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Billboard. Yeah. If you want a legitimate referral code, you can find the Tesla Life on Twitter. Wait, over. I can't read right over there. There you go. Yeah, and Mark can DM you.
We'd be happy to send you one if someone requires one. Definitely.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. Make sure you use one, because you're going to be missing out on valuable points. It doesn't matter who. I mean, we'd like it to be ours, but use somebody's code.
Yeah, use someone's code. Get
because
those
it's not worth not doing it.
Absolutely.
If you're watching this show, you probably have a friend or family that has a code, and use it. I don't think you can use your own code anymore.
You can still.
You can. Okay.
They call it loyalty. So if you already have a code, use your own code and get double points.
I thought that they had changed something so you didn't get double points. That
anyway, watching somebody just do it this weekend.
Okay.
Unless he was lying.
Well, I mean, you can still do it. I just don't think you get the same things that you do if someone else uses your code. But
I guess we'll have to wait till his car gets picked up. But he ordered it and it worked.
All right. Cool.
Let's do a little bit of an update on the original Tesla Roadsters that were shipped to China many years ago. Found in a container recently, 3 of them, 0 miles.
Right.
And are now being added to an auction block, which I understand is now well over $1 million for all 3. I think it might have
I say half because they found a bunch of parts that didn't match any of the 3 for VIN number.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, we were all wondering, who ordered these? How do you forget that you ordered 3 Roadsters? And now we know a little more about the behind the scenes. What happened?
Share with it, Patrick. Let us know.
Yes.
My understanding is they were ordered by a company to be torn apart and reverse engineered.
Sandy Monroe.
Sandy Monroe style, but yeah, yes, Sandy's cousin in China. And however, the company that ordered them went bankrupt. So that is how they got forgotten.
It gets sadder though.
Oh, there's more? Go ahead.
What happened after that? Oh, okay. So then the auction continued to rise, and they mentioned that, oh, by the way, none of these cars have keys, and we'll make sure that you have keys when you get the car. And it's not that they didn't come with keys. The keys went to a trusted executive of the company, and he since passed away. And they haven't been able to find the keys in his belongings. So that's why they're going to have to make you new keys if you win.
So that re-engineering company went bankrupt, and the person who was assigned the keys from that company died. So, tragedy all around there.
Yeah.
And the moral of the story: do not ever order three cars and put them in a container. Just don't do it.
And if you're about to go bankrupt, don't spend $300,000 on competitors' products.
More, because remember, wasn't the base price $140?
Yes,
it did get up to that. Yeah.
and like you said, Casey, they'd already had one and torn it apart, so now they were ordering 3 more to tear apart.
It's because they did the first tear
Well,
down.
the half of one was in the car, in the container with them.
Oh, man. What a mess. What a mess.
Yeah.
Next, bringing it back to North America, Casey's got a story about the new total for Superchargers.
Mr. Supercharger. All right, so North American Superchargers now total 2,000 sites. You guys might remember a couple of years ago we were talking about when we reached 2,000 handles.
Right.
Now it's significantly more than that.
So if we're thinking now that North America average maybe 10 locations or 10 sites per, that would mean we're
handles
sitting
per
at
site?
20,000 handles across North America.
Yeah, because other than service centers, where you might find 2, the minimum you'll see is a 4, and typically you see a 6 or an 8 as the normal small site. And then
in California, it's 185.
Yeah, exactly. 90, 50, 75, 99.
Wasn't handles across North America a peace movement in the 80s?
I believe that was hands.
I'm not sure. Just in time for our friends at Ford to join us.
20,000 handles across America.
There you go.
Oh yeah, I do wonder what the total is, and more importantly, should we? There's been this whole debate about is NACS the right standard or should it be CCS? And of course, the charging group who runs CCS is like attacking Tesla for adding confusion to the market, and there's already a standard, and we're it. Stop doing this. But
sounds
like
how many a good old boy would say. Not
right,
anywhere near that.
You upstart, stay in your lane.
Mary Barra put out a similar sounding, like pouty, what about us statement as well. And it got rolled over for it.
Well, Mary, if you want to pay for it too, you can switch over to NACS. I'm sure they would welcome you to the club if you wanted to switch over.
Well, the problem is that they just spent a couple $2 billion to help a charging network spread out CCS handles everywhere. But if they haven't already bought them, just switch them to NACS. Switch your cars and call it a day. It speaks NACS.
And actually,
it speaks
you're
CCS
probably going to see.
So.
You are probably going to see a lot of those third-party providers switching or adding a NACS handle to their.
It would be
to
foolish
supplement
not
CCS.
to do that, because if you've got all these charging stations and you see your idle times, and then you see Ford and Tesla, the number 1 and number 2 currently shipping cars, because I know that Ford isn't really there historically, but they're there now. You see all this money just running past your station. Are you not going to put a plug to snag a couple of them? I mean, you'd be very foolish not to put at least 1 per site.
Yeah.
And if that's the majority, you actually probably would flip the Electrify America one Chatamo per site, and you do 1 CCS per site, and then the rest in NACS. That's the smart play.
Well, yeah, and Tesla has said that if you have NACS charging stations, they'll put them into their navigation system as long as you meet their uptime requirements and number of stall requirements.
And it's not hard either.
Well, it is hard because they haven't been able to do it. I mean,
well, that part's not. That part is difficult.
Yeah.
If you can do that,
you have to do maintenance on it. Forget that.
So Ford's got their charge angels that run across North America, testing out stations, and then Tesla just did it in the computer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I see you plug into a third-party charger at these coordinates. All right. Check. All right. It's in the map. And then they fall below the threshold. Oh, they're out.
They're out. Didn't last a week. There is certainly if you're going to be tracked on that, which makes sense because of course the Tesla charging network is at 99.99 uptime. So bringing some substandard network onto it that is going to be down 10% of the time or more, that's going to be something that when you're in your Tesla, you're not going to want to pick. You just go to a strictly a Tesla charger. So having that monitoring is going to be crucial to make sure that everybody's playing by the same rules.
Right, and it has to support plug
and
and charge.
Yeah,
right.
You just want to be able to.
In the same vein, Rivian added all those plug and charge superchargers to their trip computer.
Good.
I think we're on a slippery slope for all this. In a good way.
We have Chevy Spark EV, and we were just looking at taking a trip with it, and it's like, oh, we could charge here. Well, what network is that? Oh, that's was it Shell Recharge. Okay, so now I have to go and install the Shell Recharge app, and I have to set up an account, and then I have to give them a credit card.
Get your key fob set up.
Right, and then when you get there, it has a QR code that you have to scan. It's not just plug and charge. Even though I've already installed the app, I've already given them billing all data, I still have to do this other stuff to make it work. It's just not a great end user experience the way that plug and charge is with Tesla.
Absolutely. And I can see families that already have a Tesla and maybe have a secondary EV that's not Tesla. I can see that once the network has started to open up even further to others, I could just see them saying, I'm not going to use anything else. Why would I? I can just switch over to Tesla, use the Magic Dock at the sites, and I'm done. And even though you're not getting fantastic top speed charging, maybe because the car you're using, you'd still use it because the reliability is there, and you do not have a question as to I need a plan B and a plan C whenever I stop at somewhere to charge.
Yep.
Yeah, when I went to that EA station, you had two different places to scan. You had one place to scan your app and a different place to scan your credit card for tap and pay. And like you said about top speed charging, there was a 50 and a 150 and a bunch of 350s, and the Bolt was there at 350, even though it could only take 50.
50. Although he may have arrived with only that one available. That's
maybe because it did take me 20 minutes to get a spot to open up. But the Porsche was on a 150, the Bolt was on a 350. They could have swapped.
Yeah,
got them both out faster.
Well, speaking of the Bolt, let's switch to another brand. Let's go to the Toyota Camry, which of course doesn't come up on this show too often.
Welcome to the Camry life.
Yeah,
California Camry.
But now the California Camry has changed titles. So of course now with the IRA full refund of $7,500, again based on your income and price bracket that it's gone through.
Lawyer approved disclaimer. Well done, Mark.
And they now have an actual price of a Model 3 rear-wheel drive has dropped below the price of a Toyota Camry in California. So if you are eligible for all the discounts, you can now receive a Model 3 under the price of a Camry. And of course, we've talked about this before when Camry was a little bit lower than Tesla, and still there was many people that were opting for the 3 over the Camry because of the savings in fuel costs, as well as maintenance over the long-term ownership of the car. But now with the price with the IRA refund that's available to you, if you qualify, then we've got a scenario where out of the gate, the purchase price of the car is lower than the Camry, and then you still get the fuel and the maintenance savings all on top of it over the long term. So it can even drive down that cost of that car even further. So I haven't been to California in about 3 years, but I can't imagine the number of Tesla Model 3s on the road there now. Like it must be, the place must be swimming in them, because if you start offering a car underneath the price of a Camry and you get the benefits of what we've outlined already, I just can't see many people choosing the Camry.
Yeah.
It's not even legal to sell or service them here, and I can't go a day without seeing at least one other Tesla.
Right. Yeah. And we were just talking about charging networks. I wonder how many Tesla charging stalls there are in California, and if that's more than the other networks in the entire continent. I'd be willing to say it's if it's not more, it's probably close.
It's darn close, most likely, because the infrastructure definitely has been growing in California with multiple new sites opening up, and those sites, as mentioned earlier, are not 8 stalls. They're typically 20 and above, and some of them, as we've mentioned in this show previously, have breached the 100 mark.
And they have like these nice amenities, like a drive-in movie theater or a little coffee bar.
Well, no drive-in yet, but it's coming to Santa Monica.
It's under construction.
Or Hollywood West. Yeah.
Hollywood West, and then they've got what 2 or 3 of the coffee bar style.
Yeah, I stopped at the Kettleman City one when I was driving to San Diego, and it's pretty cool when you pull in, the code pops up on your screen, and so that's the way they could change the code as often as they wanted and still tell the people that really need to know the code. I thought that was a pretty clever way, and that's it's a connected.
You get there with your Lightning, you got to pull up your app.
Oh yeah, so once when you might have to, and if they open those to
the Lightning might have it on the screen because they're integrated with the API, but everybody else who's using like the Magic Dock is going to have to use an app.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's cool. Of course, I immediately sent a note to our friend Russell Frost and said, "You've ordered your $25,000 Model 3, right? Because it's way below the $35,000 that they initially offered." So, no response from Russell to this point. We will see. We will see if we get a response back, and whether or not
be on vacation without signal.
Whether or not it's sarcastic or not as well.
That would be fun.
Especially somebody who drives for a living.
Yes.
You want to do that, not with gasoline.
Yeah. And then don't forget also that the corporate purchases also have their own tax credit and qualifications, and they're a little looser than the personal tax credits. So look into it if that's you.
Right. And if you don't qualify
or your employer,
for
like if you drive for a living.
Right. Yes, if you drive for a living, maybe it can be a business expense instead of a personal vehicle, and that might give you other opportunities if you didn't qualify. And the same thing applies to the lease. If you don't qualify for the incentive, let's say you're retired and you don't have an income that you could deduct the taxes from, or other reasons, you might be able to lease it instead. The benefit goes to the leaseholder, and then you buy out the lease. So there's even if you don't qualify directly, there are some other ways you might be able to get there legally.
Yeah, like in Russell's case, his company owns the cars, so I was thinking that in his case, get your boss to do it because it's cheaper than the rust buckets they have them in.
Oh yeah, that would be really fun. As much shade as he's thrown at Tesla, it would be fun to know that was
if they switch the fleet over.
Yes.
Yeah, here's your new ride today. It's a Model.
No referral code, by the way.
Oh, that would be so delicious.
Next, let's talk about Tribal Tesla. Of course, the title on tonight's episode, and this is an article that was put out there by the Syracuse newspaper, and Tesla has now plans for a new delivery and service center to be built on tribal land, but this time it's going to be a little bit east of Syracuse, New York. And we've heard about this previously. Tesla already has one location built on native Indian land, and that is in New Mexico. And Tesla also submitted an update for New Mexico to get its second, again, on tribal land dealership. And that was just
don't call it a dealership.
I'm sorry.
No.
Yes. Service
sales and service
sales
centers. Yeah.
And they had the submission, it was about a month and a half ago, 6 or 8 weeks ago, that the second one was supposed to go start construction in New Mexico as well. Haven't heard if that second one has come along or if it's just starting to be built. Haven't seen any update on that. But this one that we have tonight, that's just a bit east of Syracuse, New York. This location is proposed. They've obviously got the artistic drawings and plans ready, and they plan to break ground on this in the near future. So we had speculated on this show way back then that this may be an excellent way of getting around the dealership mafia. that has stopped Tesla in certain states completely, as New Mexico, or has stopped them partially by only allowing them 3 or 4 locations in the entire state to be opened. So this circumnavigates that and allows them to open more or start to open the first ones in any of these states. So it's obviously something that has worked for them currently, and it's going to be obviously looked at in the future if the location's right. It's all based on location, right? If it's in an unpopulated area or away from major areas, it's probably not as advantageous for them to do so. But certainly when those two things mix, I can definitely see that they will jump all over it as they've done in these 3 locations.
Assuming that the tribes will have them, because some of them have tenuous relationships with folks trying to run stuff from their land.
True.
Rightfully so.
But you can see that if they're running business parks already, being able to add Tesla as one of the renters in those business parks just makes complete sense for both sides.
Yeah. Right. And often when a business builds on tribal land, there's an agreement, and that includes some percentage of tribal members being hired as employees. So it means jobs for the area. It means development for the area. Yes. And one of the things that I thought was cool about this story is that they have an agreement with the tribe, and now they're going to start deliveries immediately at the casino. So they're not even going to wait until they have their facility up and running. They're going to start deliveries as soon as they can, and that's great. This just points out how stupid some of these state laws are, and Tesla's just irreverent enough to say, "Oh, all right, we'll find another way. We're not going to just say, your law is there and we have to comply." Well, we'll find a way to be legal and still get what we need. Yeah, New York. So Tesla started building. They had 4 locations in New York, and then in 2014, they changed the rules, or they changed the law, or tightened up the law, and so they were then no longer able to build additional locations, which seems kind of dumb. So you've changed the rules, and now you aren't going to shut down the old ones, but you're not going to allow new ones. That seems like this halfway thing is just kind of ridiculous. It's why would you not
per town?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you not just allow the free market? Customers are able to buy these cars.
Small government, free enterprise, blah blah blah. All hypocrisy.
Right.
I can tell you why, and you guys know why just as well as I do. They're afraid. They have an issue with watching others buy Teslas, and now with the Model Y being the number one vehicle, let alone EV in the world, they can see the writings on the wall. If they don't start switching over to EVs now, if they didn't start switching over to EVs 2 years ago, they were going to be in trouble. So now they're in trouble, and these dealerships are going to scratch and claw trying to hold a captive market as long as they can, because the corporate overlords above those dealerships have been sitting on their hands for a long time and have not gotten into the EV race. And now they're left behind, and Tesla's already 2 or 3 lapped them as time goes along. So,
yes, this is just rent seeking. This is them trying to hold on to the status quo for as long as possible, because if they can slow down EV adoption or Tesla's proliferation for even just a few months, that's a few extra months of profit for them so they can buy a bigger yacht.
And it's not just Tesla, Lucid, Rivian that they're afraid of. They're afraid of their own manufacturers, because they can see the writing on the wall with Ford Model E, and they really didn't like it when GM told them not to rip off their customers. Like, hey, here's the price the customer ordered at, sell it to them for that, and then they sued GM. No, we do what we want. Same with Ford, but Ford also is getting ready with this whole Model E thing, so they're on a different relationship than GM is with the GM dealers that Ford is with the non Ford Model E dealers. The Ford Blue, they gotta be careful what they say.
Yeah, it's interesting that they have a legally mandated middleman requirement, and not only that, they get local monopolies where they're not allowed to have competition within so many miles. You can't open a competing dealership because you can't get a license from the manufacturer for that region if it's already got one. And so they've got a sweet deal. There's a reason that they can afford to donate to politicians to get the laws that they need crafted the way that they need them.
Yeah,
that closeness law is what they used in North Carolina for Tesla Matthews and Tesla Raleigh. They said, "Oh, these two stores are close together. They're 3-hour drive apart without traffic." But yet, as I said, 4 Chevy stores in the same town.
Right. Ridiculous.
Well, with that, I think we'll wrap it up this evening. We want to thank everyone for watching. If you haven't already, please press that thumbs up right at this point. Give us a thumbs up. That helps us out. If you're not subscribed already, do that as well. That helps all in the algorithm to get our show noticed by others. We would really appreciate it if you can do so. With that, Casey, any shout outs for the crowd as we wrap up this evening?
Yeah, so check us out Sundays at 1:10 Eastern p.m. At youtube.com at Casey Green, where we have a show where we kind of chat like this, and it's all about electrifying all the things. And we hope to see you there.
Very good. Very good. Patrick, what do you got for the crowd today?
As always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And I blog at carswithcords.net. And guess what? Somebody has a birthday coming up. Who is it? It's Tesla. They turned 20 on July 1st. And I have a whole article up about 20 years of Tesla. And
Green with coffee and pull up this article.
Right. Yeah. So
July
what have they
1st.
done over these 20 years? And
what birthday is July 1st as well?
I don't know.
Canada Day, guys. Come on.
Oh,
Canada
Day. I bet you they did that on purpose.
See which ones of us
They probably did. Yeah, they probably did.
Yeah, so I'd even do some speculating where they might be 20 years from now. That's the interesting part. Yeah.
That's a long-term guess, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you very much again for watching. Join us next Wednesday where we'll get together and we will find out what's happening in the Tesla life. There goes the music.
Happening. Patrick's bringing about the future.
A future free from fossil fuels, baby.
Got it in. Have a great week, everyone.
See you next week.